I feel like it's time for me to leave England and just start fresh somewhere else, but I don't know where to go. All I know is that England is becoming insufferable for me. I was born in England, I've lived here my whole life. My parents were born in England, my grandparents were not. I understand why my grandparents came here when they did. I just don't understand why I'm still here.
Okay, so new topic. The United Kingdom is too white. There's this woman on your screen right now. So we're going to have a listen to her experiences, her lived experiences, and why she's come to the conclusion that she's come to. And after she's finished, we're going to come with our analysis, and I'm going to tell you what I think about her points, lived experiences, myself as a black man in the United Kingdom, and how progression can be made. Let's go.
I feel like it's time for me to leave England and just start fresh somewhere else, but I don't know where to go. All I know is that England is becoming insufferable for me. I was born in England, I've lived here my whole life. My parents were born in England, my grandparents were not. I understand why my grandparents came here when they did. I just don't understand why I'm still here. As a black person, we make up about 4% of the population here. White people make up about 80% of the population, so there's already a huge difference. Because this is a country with 80% white people, of course, that is going to be the basic foundation of pretty much everything here. So naturally, people who are white are going to just assume that their way of life is everyone else's way of life. There are some people who have taken the time to educate themselves to understand that it's not all about them. Well, majority of people think that way or still have a lot of unconscious biases that they have to work through. Now, I can say that I know people who have been working through those things over the past few years, but it's like I feel like I'm regressing because there are people who are finally waking up to things and issues that we have here that I've obviously been aware of my whole life.
Just very quick. I'm not going to keep pausing the video, but just very, very quick. She said that people in England believe that their way of life is everyone's way of life, but this is just how everyone thinks. If you go to Nigeria, Nigerians will think their way of life is everyone's way of life. They're the predominant people there. You know, you go to India, Indians will think that as well. You go to China, Chinese will think that. Japan, Japanese will think that. South Korea, it's all over the globe. People are going to think the predominant people that are there are going to think that their way of life is just how everyone else have it. You know, so it's not just an exclusive thing to the United Kingdom. You know, and I would even argue that in the United Kingdom they've actually been very, very accommodating to, you know, a lot of cultures. You know, of course things can always be better, as in anywhere things can always be better, but they've been very accommodating to, you know, assimilate different kinds of cultures. Other countries around the world do not go out of their way to assimilate other kinds of cultures, and we know that. They're like, this is our culture. You want it? Come and live with us. If you don't want it, then get out. A lot of countries are like that. But, you know, UK are very much accommodating to everyone's culture. And again, they're not perfect. I'm not going to say that, but they're very accommodating to everyone's culture and they allow everyone to live in. So if you have this mentality of, you know, English people, you know, being the predominant people in, you know, the UK, like Anglo-Saxon English people, then you can say that all over the board, everywhere in the world, because Mexicans will say the same, Ghanaians will say the same, Colombians will say the same. This just goes everywhere in the world. So yeah. But anyway, let's carry on.
Like because of my experience here and people from my community out of that 4% of black people, and when I say community I mean black people, not just specific because then it gets even smaller, but out of black people, that 4%, there are people who fit into the society's expectations of black people, right? Then there's also people who conform to the whiteness in the UK. And then what's left are the people like myself who are not conforming, don't fit into certain stereotypes, and we're just kind of here. Now, in order for the rest of us who are just here, right, to succeed, really all of us to succeed, because conforming doesn't allow you to really succeed in your full truth, and being a stereotype also doesn't allow you to succeed in your full truth, right? So out of the rest of us who are here who are trying to exist in our full truth, it's like, how far can you really go if every step of the way you have to explain every single thing you're doing because you're in a country where most people don't get it? Now, compare it to the US, and I have most supporters. Like anything that I do, social media, businesses, etc., I usually have a lot of supporters from the US. So that's one of the reasons that this is an example. Second reason it's an example just because it has a similar kind of structure to the UK. Black people in the US make up about 14.4, 14-ish% of the whole population. The difference is white people in the US make up about 56.6% of the population, or coming up to 60%. The rest of the population is made up of like Asian people and Hispanic people. So although black people make up 14%, which is still much more than UK, but still a small amount, there's a huge amount of like Hispanic people and Asian people. That means that the white people in the US make up about half of the population, not 80%. And as we can all see, right, the US is racist and has all its issues, but there are also so many more black communities, so many more communities of people of color where they're able to thrive. Like when I see people and they're like, oh, go to Atlanta, it's loads of black people. Like we don't have an Atlanta here. We don't have just loads of black people. Maybe we'll have like areas, but even those areas, they're one being gentrified, two, that's where they stuff everybody on top of each other, and we have all our crime and issues. But like that black success.
Guys, sorry to pause this again, but will you speak out on black crime? I mean, black men are taking lives of other black men at astronomical rates in America and in the United Kingdom. You're here looking for, oh, black people and white people don't understand how I feel. They don't get it. You know, they just, they think their way of life is everyone else's way of life. But you're not talking about the real issues. The real issues are black on black violence. I'm not anti-black. I'm just giving it to you straight how it is. The real issues are black on black violence. You mentioned the black American community. Do you know they have a buying power of almost $2 trillion? A lot of countries don't even have $2 trillion. So it goes to show the money is there, but the priorities isn't. Too much stunting and showing other people you're better than them. Not enough investment into communities, into black education, into black jobs. There's not enough investment. The money is there. Almost $2 trillion you have as a black American community, and you're in these problems. I'm not going to dive into that too much. Even in the UK, black people spend less than 5% of our buying power with black businesses, But then we'll go online and say, yeah, we're pro-black, I love my black sister, my black brother. And right after we say that, we go to Gucci and spend our money. Right after we say I'm pro, we go to Louis Vuitton and spend our money. Right after I'm pro-black, we go and listen to a rapper talk about destroying the black community. But we'll come out of the rapper's concert and say, yeah, we're still pro-black though. But we went to watch this rapper with his trousers low talk about F these chicks and catch the ops that look like you. Why don't you hold that behavior accountable? Why are you here looking for, white people need to understand? Understand what? I'm sorry, I have to go on a rant now because she's just, awakened the dragon, the sleeping dragon. Indian people have come here for a long time and they're at the top, they're at the highest point in UK society. They're the highest achievers. The median income household is the highest in the UK. Business wise, they thrive in business. Education wise, they do the best. Marriage wise, they're the least to get divorced. They do astronomical in this country. Why? Because they take the steps to better themselves every time. They don't look for excuses, And this is why even Nigel Farage said it. He said they're the most successful group in the United Kingdom. Black people take the same steps, try and take these steps. Stop looking for someone to blame all the time and start holding yourself accountable. Life isn't going to be perfect, but it starts from home. We need to start holding the black community accountable and deal with these real issues at hand. And then once your issues have been dealt with, then you can start looking at other things. Okay, cool. And people may be more inclined to listen.
School areas and places like that. We don't really have those spaces here in the UK. Even growing up in the UK, like as a black person growing up in the UK, a lot of the TV shows that we watched were American TV shows because that's where we saw representation. We didn't have much of it in the UK. And the representation that we did have in the UK, and I'm not saying this to throw any shade to anyone at that time because get your coins and I understand it, but like a lot of it was poppy show business. If you're not Caribbean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like gimmicky because that's how they used black people. Like they want you on there to be the joke. Everyone's not going to look at that as black people. We're not looking at that saying, I want to go on TV and be made fun of. Do you know what I mean? We want to be the Mauritius. We want it to be something where we feel like, that feels more like my family. It feels more like a family party. It doesn't feel like they're making a mockery out of me. I feel like at this point in my...
But what about the mockery that you're making out of yourself with this kind of music, this self-sabotaging music? Do you hold that accountable? Do you want to hold rappers? Do you want to hold any of these guys accountable? The representation we do have in society today is quite destructive. Do you want to say anything about that? Oh, that's fine. Rappers keep rapping about taking black life. Keep rapping. Don't worry, man. We're coming to your show. We support you. But white people, why did you put this black guy on TV 20 years ago when he's not a good representation of black people? Well, look at the representation that we put ourselves in, but she won't speak to that. She will leave that. And she will worry about what white people did and who they put on TV 20 years ago or whatever.
My life, in order to really succeed, in order to really create the life that it is that I've been trying to create, I need to get out of here. The more I stay here, the more I have to explain myself every step of the way, and I'm realizing now how much it's hindering my growth, and it's actually making me feel like I'm regressing. Like, for example, do you know when you become a parent, right? And if you don't have a really good support system, it's very easy to feel like your brain has turned to mush because you're doing the same things with your child, you're teaching them the same things that you already know over and over again, you're watching kids' TV shows, that's playing in your mind, you're not having those adult conversations, you're not feeling stimulated, every day feels the same. No shade to babies because I love them. I feel like my brain's turning to mush. I'm constantly having to explain why I do the things that I do, why I know the things that I do, which is the biggest one for me. I've got friends from all different races, right? I've been to predominantly white school, but lived in predominantly white areas. I've been around people part of the 80% who look at me and they're like, why do you care about that? Like, why do you know that? It's really not that deep. Because they see me as like, well, you're black in England, so why do black issues anywhere else affect you? Or why do you feel oppressed? Or why do you care about all this other stuff when you're fine? I'm tired of people seeing me through their privilege when I am not afforded that same privilege, because then you don't see me. And this is why you need to see color. Like, I'm so tired of that. Oh, I don't see color. I see everyone as just, I don't care if you're blue, green. Well, no one is blue and green. And even when black people say that, please stop saying that. No one is blue and green. It's so dismissive. You need to see color to understand those differences, to understand that although I'm in the school, although I'm in the workplace, although I'm in this England, I am not the same as you. I have a different experience than you. And if you can't see that, I don't feel comfortable here. I'm just tired. I'm tired of the doomsdays. I'm tired of people not getting it. I'm tired of feeling like I'm literally part of this tiny percent when I know out there in the world there are so many other people who get me. I just want to be able to have my experience, achieve what I'm achieving, and to be able to chill in all the other spaces. When I'm supposed to be able to just let my hair down and just relax, I feel like I'm always having to explain something to someone, or I'm always having to be a lecturer about something, because something in passing or a simple reference, like a funny reference, is like, what does that mean? Every day. Not every day. I'm just ranting because I'm just tired of the same old, same old. I don't want to isolate myself. Like, I've just turned 30. I want to enjoy my experience and have a full life. It's just not going to be that full here in England. Like, it's just ain't it.
Now, with her points, it seemed as if she was everywhere. I don't really understand where she was coming from. She wasn't being, direct with her points. She was kind of saying, yeah, this is that, or maybe she's sugarcoating. But I do want to say one thing. So I spoke about, the holding the black community accountable in UK and in the US. Do you want to hold the African government accountable as well? Do you want to hold Ghana accountable for cancelling the Ghanaian convention when prominent black speakers were going to speak about how to progress Africa's African progression? They wanted to speak on African progression and it was cancelled abruptly. Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about, after the Europeans leaving the African continent, corrupt, kleptocratic governments said, hey, China, Russia, and India, you good? Europeans have left, now you can come in. We're selling our countries to you. What do you want? It's on sale. Just whatever you want, come and take. Just give us the money, but our country's on sale to you. Come and buy our airports. Come and buy our ports, our fishing ports. Come and buy our land, our properties. Come and buy whatever you want. It's on sale for you. After the Europeans left. So you fought so hard to get the Europeans out, and then African corrupt leaders are selling the country now to everyone else. Do you want to hold that African government accountable, Caribbean government accountable for really oppressing the people? You have a chance in the UK. You can make something of your life. You have a British passport. You can travel the world with that British passport. You can go to the UAE. You can go to America, you can go to Canada, anywhere. You're good with a British passport going around the world. You know, you have more privilege than, you know, those black children in Africa. How do I know? Because I've lived in Africa. I schooled there. So I have a lived experience. This isn't me just saying it. I lived there. I lived there. So I know what I'm talking about. You can go anywhere in the world. The world is what you make it. People aren't always going to understand what you're going through. You need to have love for self. You need to hold the community accountable. You can't fight for black people, and black people are out here causing damage and destruction to other black people. But then say, yeah, I want to go to Atlanta where people understand me. I want to, yeah, but you're going to talk about the problems there with the black community. There's so much to talk about, and there's so many people doing well in the UK. You know, South Asians do very well in the UK. To be fair, Romanians and Eastern Europeans have only come to the UK 10-ish years ago, and they're doing very well. You know, I go around North London, I go around East London, South London, West London, Central. I see many Eastern European outskirts of London. I see many Eastern European shops. They're building, they're owning property. Very soon, the black community will be below the Eastern European community, and they've only just come a decade ago. Well, I'm talking mostly Romanians, you know, Romanians, Moldovans, Lithuanians, Albanians, the Balkan areas. Polish have been there since 2000. But they're doing very well and they're gaining a lot of ground. And before you know it, they will overtake black people. Why? Because we're focused on things like this. We're not focused on building. We're not focused on actual progression. You know, we get frustrated and then we're ready to leave. That's what happens. We don't want to sit down and have the discipline and work at things. And if we don't like how things are, you can work and try and make things better. You don't need to run away all the time and just complain and scream, oh no, it's white people's fault. I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. You can do better and you should do better, honestly. Black community can do very good in the UK. I think that there's a lot of opportunities in the West and black people can capitalize on it. You know, we have a high enough buying power. It shows the money's there. The priorities are not there. You know, so yeah, what she's talking about, I'm not really hearing it. I'm sorry. Number one, I didn't really know what she was talking about. Number two, I can't really side with that. I can't really side with that. When the black community decides to do better, then you have more of an argument, but not in this current state. You're not about to come here and say, oh, this is all white people's fault and you have no word for black people. Hold other black people accountable and go from there. So yeah. But anyway, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.